The Los Angeles Clippers defeated the Detroit Pistons 112-99. Kawhi Leonard had a career high in this game. He had 55 points on 65% shooting overall from the field. So a very dominant game, but this was the first time in Kawhi's career where he scored 50 or more points. He had never done it before. You would think because of Kawhi being a superstar and what he's achieved in this league that he would have scored 50 or more by now easily. But no, that wasn't the case. His previous career high was 45 points when he played with the Raptors. Also, he made history in this game in the sense that he became the first NBA player since steals were recorded during the, I think, 1973, 1974 season to have a game that of a player to score 55 points, 5 steals, 3 blocks. And since, like I said, since steals were recorded in 73, 74 season, no player's ever done that before in NBA history. So you got to give him credit for that. That's one thing I would say. I'll also read this quote by Kawhi Leonard on this game. Oh, yeah, it was great. I got to just stay focused and stay in the zen because we got games coming back, 1 day off games for about 2 weeks. But I'm going to enjoy this one tonight. And yeah, I'm happy we got the win. This was Kawhi on winning the game. So I have to say I'm happy that the Clippers got this win. And I'm surprisingly happy for Kawhi Leonard. I know people are gonna say like you hate Kawhi, you're a Spurs fan, and I would say yeah, I'm not liked Kawhi since what happened way back when he put the Spurs through that saga during his final year with the Spurs. So I thought that was a disgusting thing he did and a very selfish thing he did. But at the same time, I got over it. A few years ago, even before the Spurs drafted Victor, because I didn't feel it was worth it to hate this guy since he's so injury prone. And he's what I call a part-time superstar. So I'm, perfectly fine with whatever success he has because he can't do it consistently. But I was glad he had a great game, only for selfish reasons, simply because I need the Clippers to continue to win these games. I need them to play a lot better because their draft pick goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder this year. So we need them to win a lot of games. I think NBA fans all over the league should be rooting for the Clippers to continue to play well. So OKC does not end up with like a top 5 pick in this draft because that would be awful. It would be a nightmare for everybody since this draft is supposed to be loaded with a lot of talented players. You don't want OKC to get another star for basically free. So they have to continue to win these games. And if Kawhi's playing at a high level, it's good because that means there's more a chance that the Clippers can win more games. I'm hoping that the Clippers can win somewhere in at least the high 30s because that would still give OKC a lottery pick, but most likely that's going to get you somewhere between 10 to 14. Not Still less of a chance of getting star when you're drafting in that range. They could get a really good role player, which would suck, but I'd rather take that damage versus them getting a top 5 pick. Now, if the Clippers can get 40 some wins, even better, because that decreases the odds of a high lottery pick. It decreases it by a lot of them getting one. So that would be great. But going back to Kawhi Leonard, I think Kawhi Leonard, if you look at it, he's probably in the top 10 for players who underachieve the most in their NBA career. He would definitely be on a top 10 list for that, for greatest underachievers of all time. And possibly you can make a case he's like the GOAT underachiever because I felt that Kawhi, if he wanted to, if he actually had a competitive spirit, he could have been the best player in this league easily when he entered his prime about 7, 8 years ago. It was there for his taking. He was just that good, but he didn't care about that stuff. He cared about being a part-time superstar and collecting as much money as he could. And that's the really sad thing about it because I think he cheated himself out of greatness and he cheated the fans out of greatness. Like, I know some people will say I'm crazy when I say this, but when Kawhi was playing at a high level during his peak, I would say like his final full season with the Spurs, not the one that came after he played only 10 games, but the final full season, he reminded me of Michael Jordan from 1995 to 1998. He had the style, was pretty much identical in every way. Now, you could say the only thing that separated that Jordan from Kawhi was that Jordan was more athletic, but he was the closest thing I've seen in my life to replicating Michael Jordan's game from that time period. Like, he was able to do the fadeaway perfectly. He had the MJ fadeaway perfectly, which is something I've never seen a player do. I know some people will scream and argue Kobe, but Kobe's version of the MJ fadeaway was ugly. It wasn't as good, wasn't as crisp or as smooth. But Kawhi Leonard's fadeaway was identical to Jordan's fadeaway. It was crisp, it was smooth, it was unguardable. He had that shot down. He had Jordan's post-up game down on the baseline. He could do that. And he had the abilities to do things with the ball, palming it like Jordan did, because Kawhi, just like Jordan, had gigantic hands that allowed him to do those things. Plus, he had the long wingspan like Jordan. Like, everything was perfect. Like, his game was like identical to Michael Jordan's game from that time period, from 95 to 98. I wouldn't say 1991 93, because Jordan was just like a super athlete and Kawhi never had the super athletic abilities. But man, from the 95 98 Jordan, definitely identical. But Kawhi just didn't care about greatness. He cared about getting as much money as he could for doing as little as possible. And he succeeded with that for the last several years, because he can have games like he did last night that just gives a bomber hope that he'll eventually get it together, and possibly the Clippers could sneak in and steal a title. Kawhi has done this throughout the years with the Clippers, that he'll have a few breakout games, tease the fans that he's going to be consistently there, and then suddenly he'll take off for like 10 or 20 games with some minor injury, like, I don't know, like a leg bruise or some shit that keeps him out for like the next 30 games. So I think that's the greatest travesty about Kawhi, is that he never had the competitive spirit like Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or Tim Duncan, that he didn't care about winning or being the best player he could be. So I think that last night's game is just another reminder of that. I'm hoping he can continue to play great like this throughout the season, because like I said, we need the Clippers to win as many games as possible, simply so OKC does not get a high pick. We definitely don't want to see them get a top 5 pick, because that could be a disaster for the league. It could cause them to form like a super team. So that would be really bad. But that's all I had to say about this.